Next, transportation and disruption. Transportation is often considered critical infrastructure since a disruption in one of its components can significantly impact the economic and social well-being of a region or a nation. Disruption at a global scale are rare, but can be far-reaching in consequences such as economic crisis, wars, and pandemics. An effective way to assess how critical infrastructure is would be to consider the impacts its removal would have on the flows and activities it services. Threats and risk level of disruption in transportation system. First is the increased mobility. Now here, the mobility is the ability to freely move or be moved. Second is the infrastructure and economic interdependency. It means that the connection among agents and different infrastructure in a general system of system. So, what is the example of critical infrastructure interdependencies? For example, daily hospital functioning depends on the ability of electricity. On the other hand, sustaining public well-being depends on the ability of both infrastructure system. Next is the centralization and concertation of distribution. What is centralized distribution? Centralized distribution is one of such model whereby shipment from one supply is transported to a central location, usually in full load quantities, rather than to each distributor location. While concentration of distribution, transportation focus only on taking the good from its original place and giving it to the rightful receiver. So distribution is a systematic process of picking up the goods, categorizing it based on the location of its destination. It includes the packaging, storage, or order fulfillment and customer handling relations. Lastly, the urbanization. With urbanization and the growth of our city population, there are more people and more jobs in cities. This also means there are more cars on the road, increasing congestion, traffic jams, and pollution. As cities expand, transportation systems need to provide efficient mode of transportation for people in the city. Let's move on to the international transport system. International transportation is the movement of goods or people from one country to another. That means when goods pass through the borders of a specific country to another by air, land, or sea, the method of transportation is regarded as international transport. So here are the international transport system and how it works. First table here shows the world air travel and world air flight carried 1950 to 2020. Second table here shows the international seaboard trade and export of goods 1955 to 2021. The third table shows the world automobile production and fleet 1965 to 2021. And lastly, the table here shows the percentage of respondents reporting disruption to specific incidents. Next is the Philippine Toll Road Network. Here are sample picture of the Philippine Toll Road Network of the Philippines, the Philippine Expressway, the Philippine Highway System of the Philippines. The Philippine Expressway Network, also known as the High Standard Highway Network, is a controlled access highway network managed by the DPWH, which consists of all expressway and regional high standard highways in the Philippines. High standard highways are defined as highways which provide a high level of traffic services by assuring high-speed mobility and safe travel in order to vitally support socio-economic activities for sound socio-economic development of strategic region in the country as a whole in the Philippines. Controlled access highways are known as expressway. There are multi-line divided toll roads which are privately maintained under concession from the government. The regional high standard highways are partial controlled access highways that the function of supplementary to expressway. The Philippine Express network spanned 420 kilometers in length in 2015 and was extended of 626 kilometers in 2020 and is to be extended to 995 kilometers beyond 2030 according to the master plan submitted by the Japan International Cooperation Agency in 2010. Let's move on to the state of public transport system of the Philippines. Picture here shows different example of public transport system of the Philippines. So now, how will we describe the transportation system in the Philippines? Philippines transport system consists of road, water, air, and rail transport. The transport infrastructure has been developed and spread across the country. About 215,000 kilometers of roads, 1,300 public and private ports, and 215 public and private airports. We all know that our public transport system is dim, unsafe, unhealthy, and unreliable, and also uncomfortable. The table shows here the average daily traffic volume in Metro Manila in the Philippines from 2018 to 2022. It says that PUBs and PUGs serve 67% of demand but uses 28% of road space, according to GCA 2014. And it also says here that 180,000 PUGs nationwide, 90% are 15 years old and above, according to the LTFRB. And it also says here that 17% ambient air pollution in Metro Manila and up to 80% in other cities due to PUGs. Lastly, it says here that the PUG passenger 10 times more likely to get into accident than private cars riders. Next here, we talk about the current system. So, based on existing DTI BPS Philippine National Standard in Clean Air, we put here the picture in the requirement. The environment friendly, each requirement is clean air, act complaints engine, Euro 4 emission or better electric solar alternative fuel. The requirement for safety is the side door speed limiter. The requirement for security is the CCTV GPS dashboard camera. The requirement for comfort and convenience is the automatic fare collection system, free Wi-Fi. On street completion, there are accidents causing the street in traffic violation, which result to low income, exhausted driver, prone to accident, prone to more bad behavior.
So there are 6 types of transportation networks and vulnerabilities. First is air networks, which is nodal hierarchy. Next, maritime networks, which is circuitous nodal hierarchy. Next is logistical networks, which is sequential multinodal hierarchy. Next is road networks, which is hierarchical meshes. Next, rail networks, which is linear nodal hierarchy. And lastly, the power grids, which is sequential linear hierarchy. So here are the 7 benefits of transportation planning. First, it provides information, tools, and public engagement needed for improving transportation system performance. Next, the comprehensive, cooperative, and continuing process that requires monitoring of the system's performance and condition. Next, influences many decisions, including policies, choices among alternative strategies, priorities, and funding allocations. Next is improving the efficiency of transportation for business and transport providers. Next is improving economic efficiency of transport for consumers. Next, creating a more reliable transportation system. Lastly, providing a positive long-term and sustainable economic impact on the region. transportation planning is very important. It provides integrated solutions by balancing policies, and it helps a community or city grows by evaluating everything from streets and highways to cargo and ships to public transits and to bike lanes. Transportation safety and security. Safety and security issues concern both transportation modes and terminals that can be either a target for terrorism, a vector to conduct illegal activities, or even a form of warfare. As locations where passengers and freight are assembled and dispersed, terminals have particularly been a focus of concern about security and safety because railway stations and airports are some of the most densely populated sites. Crowd control and safety have been issues that have preoccupied managers for a long time. Access is monitored and controlled, and movements are channeled along pathways that provide safe access and form platforms and gates. The foundation of transport securities includes several dimensions and potential measures. Dimensions: the rules by which the transport organization is governed and set down, understood, and followed by everyone involved. Measures is the set of procedures that can be implemented to maintain the integrity of the passengers or cargo, namely inspections, the security of facilities and personnel, as well as the data of the supporting cybersecurity measures. So here are the benefits of transportation security measures. First, it will reduce risk of travel or trade disruption. Next, improved security against theft. Next, improved security against illegal transportation of passengers and freight. Next, improved reliance on information systems. Next, reduce risk of invasions of duties and taxes. Next, lastly, increased confidence in the international trading system. Here are two types of potential threats and risk. First, natural disasters, which includes extreme weather events, geophysical, geomagnetic storms, and sea level rise. Next, anthropogenic disaster, which includes accidents, infrastructure failure, conflicts, terrorism and piracy, economic and political shocks, and pandemics. So here are the 5 principles of transportation disaster planning, which enhances organizational resilience by learning from success and failures. First is risk assessment. Second, preparedness. Third is mitigation. Fourth, response. And lastly, recovery.